On this episode of AV Week, Infocom has new digital badges. Grand is getting into the shade and lighting control. Plus, MIT has developed Glasses 3 3D. All that and more. Next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
AV Week is brought to you by our fine group of underwriters, companies like Biamp. This is AV Week, episode 258, recorded Friday, August 5th, 2016. Throwin shade.
Ready.
AV Week.
Performing scan.
Week.
Online.
This is AV Week. AV Week. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us this week, my buddy, pal, left-hand side of my brain, all-around good guy, Mr. George C. Tucker. How are you, sir?
George C.
George C. Scott. George
flag
C.
behind me with the helmet.
Yes.
All right. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings and salutations.
Greetings and salutations.
Also with us is Bradford Ben from Harman International. Welcome, sir.
No. Today I'm on vacation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hence, the fact is, my opinions are only my own opinions. I speak for no one else, including my wife, my dog, and my employer. Also, pay attention this week. I'm giving away a Finn bobblehead. Also, by the way, Tim has already lost control of the show.
About an hour ago.
Because he made the mistake of introducing me.
All right. Next up
to my
is...
left is Adrian Boyd.
I will do this
Adrian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Adrian, the AV CAD guy on Twitter and resident designer engineer at AVI St. Louis.
AVI Systems St. Louis. Also with us
Yes.
is Christian Duggle. Christian is from UMasskin. Welcome, sir.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, I'm bringing here the European perspective too, as we just established a business as subsidiary in San Francisco with our semantic skin walls, and I'm happy to join the discussion.
Good luck with that, sir.
You have no idea what you're in for.
You have joined an auspicious...
Me and the next guest are going 5 rounds, bare-knuckle boxing.
You're going 5 minutes.
5 rounds.
Let's see.
Go ahead.
And in the other corner, the foil to my aluminum, Mr. Bradley Grimes, a fine Chicago Blackhawks fan. We're not so sure about the Red Sox, but I don't understand baseball. Good to have you on this afternoon, Bradley. How are you?
Hey, Bradford. Good to be here.
All right.
Totally rattled.
So here's the thing. But we send out stories, and we're like, okay, these are the stories we're going to do. Very rarely do we have breaking news in the AV industry. This is not exactly breaking, but it's something that's happened in the last couple of hours. A number of Infocom connected folks, employees as well as volunteers, over the last couple of days have posted what I'm going to refer to as a digital badge. Brad, you can correct me if I'm mistaking it or misspeaking this.
Or not.
I'm going to bring up our good pal Chuck Espinosa's badge for I believe it's CTSI. So it's with youracclaim.com. It's a badge, and you have to have an account with them. It lists what a CTSI is. And he can post this on different places. I saw Chuck's on Facebook. Bradford saw it on Twitter this morning, as well as a number of other folks. I saw Krista Bender's on Facebook last night as well. Real quickly, explain what a badge is and the process that you guys are in currently with this.
So, and thanks for indulging me and letting us talk about this. So these CTS badges, well, back up a second. I mean, one of the pieces of feedback we get from a lot of CTS holders and people who are interested in CTS is they're looking for assistance in how to communicate the value. What does it mean to be a CTS? Because as the people in this industry understand what it means, if you go into a hiring director's office or an HR office and you try to explain to them what it means to be a CTS, it takes a lot of explanation at this point in time. And so one of the things that we've done to address this request from CTS holders is create digital badges. And what these digital badges do is you can attach them to your LinkedIn profile or Facebook or whatever you use most to communicate with employers in the outside world clients. And they can click through and they can see exactly what you did to become a CTS, what it means, what the criteria were, the fact that it's an ANSI accredited standard. It's all there in what's called a digital badge. It's run by a group called Acclaim, which is part of Pearson, which runs our CTS testing program. And it's currently being rolled out in phases, and the folks you're seeing putting their CTS badges out on social now are Infocom CTS holders, folks in the CTS certification committee. So it's going to roll out in phases, but what will happen is all 10,000 plus, and I think it's close to 10,500 CTS, CTSI, CTSD holders will get an email from Infocom in the, I believe it's week or so, giving them the opportunity to add the digital badge to whatever they want. It's not required, obviously, but it is, again, something that we're providing in response to a perceived need in the market to better explain the program, what it means, what it is you're able to do for people, and you can just add it on LinkedIn or Facebook or, again, whatever you use to communicate in social media.
All right. Mr. Bradford Ben.
Yes, sir.
What were your main concerns and or questions?
Well, actually, to be honest, as you see, I'm holding up my brand spanking new, just got it in the mail yesterday, CTS Welcome folder.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's now 10,501. Ask Chuck the story about that. It's an interesting story. But the concern I had was, what is it? It just appeared out of nowhere. Is your claim another media site I have to pretend to care about, like Ello was, or Google Wave, or dare I say Google Plus? Oh, they censored me. Google Plus. Some of these sites that aren't so big, and they just popped out of nowhere. I think the fact that Infocom is helping us as CTS holders spread the message as to why this is important is good. I think the fact it came out of nowhere and seemed to be seeded across people was where a lot of the confusion came. And I know I speak for our friend AV Grump, Harry Mead, who's also here, as well as a couple other people who are persnickety like I am, were confused by it. And it was more of the, okay, what is this? Where did it come from? How is this different than all these other social media we're doing? Because we didn't have the backstory. And I do have to tip my hat to Infocom and to Mr. Grimes. Yes, I'll actually call him Mr. Grimes for actually coming on and reacting quickly to this. Yes, this is a question that membership has and wanted to know more about. And we probably could have handled the questions better, but it's not the typical tone on Twitter, and unfortunately in 140 characters you can't always get it, but it was more of the, where is this, why don't I have one, what's the secret handshake, what is your claim, all that type of stuff. Because to me, I was just going to put a link to my profile on the CTS page and put it on a copy of my resume, but now I can just put the Acclaim badge on and all that. So I see the benefit of it now that's been explained. I will say I think it adds value. I think, as Mr. Grimes and I have spoken previously in back channels, there was probably some moving pieces parts that got confusing. Not like that's ever happened to me. Anyone seen my humble opinion on AVNation recently? That's a whole other story. Sorry, inside pool. So that was where I came from. I think it's a benefit, though, overall, because now that I've taken a CTS exam, and I'm planning on taking more because Chuck and I have a bet, I can see how it's something to be proud of. There are still things I have questions about, but I think Infocom taking a step to help show the value of it is good. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Brad. And your questions were totally legit. Everyone's question. I mean, it's a very social. Digital badge is a very electronic social thing. It moves very quickly, and like I said, all CTSs are going to get an email basically saying, this is what we're doing. It's gonna we have a lot of explanation going on out there now, and I just hope that by talking about this, people will be willing to look at it and consider it. We're obviously not telling everybody that they have to to do this. It's a free feature of them being a CTS, and what we hope is that when they go, when an HR manager starts poking around online and goes to their LinkedIn profile, and they can click on their badge and say, oh, okay, this person can do all these things, and this person is an ANSI certified professional, that it helps you all get more jobs, get great opportunities, and hopefully be have nothing but upside. So I just appreciate the opportunity to come on and explain it.
The other thing, real quickly before we let you go, the other thing I liked on Chuck's, it shows when he achieved it, so when he earned the CTS, and when it expires,
Yep.
right? So for Bradford's, it'll say, July of 2016, it'll expire, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, 4 years, 5 years? 3 years. 3 years. So 3 years, so it'll expire in 2019. Bradford has until then to get his 30 renewal units for that one.
I'm going to have them in October after I teach SynodCon class. You all should come
You
to it.
get 30 credits for teaching SynodCon?
Yes, I do.
Wow. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Grimes before we let him get out of here? And
we should show Mr. Grimes, because I decided he's going to be our trivia question for me giving away my Finn Bobble, autographed.
Autographed by you, not actually
Autographed
Finn.
by me,
Just
not by anyone
want to
important.
clarify that.
I'll throw in an AV Tweep sticker. What hockey team is Mr. Grimes representing during this fine, august podcast?
And you have to be watching the video for that. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll put a contact form up on the webpage so that you can submit your answer directly. We'll even pay shipping internationally. You have until Friday, August 12th to enter, and at the next episode, I will draw a winner from all of the correct answers. So there you go. No purchase necessary. Complete fun. Nothing required. Blah blah blah. No money has changed hands.
this is not a lottery in any way, shape, or form. So
I'm thrilled to play a small part in making someone so happy this week.
all right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. We all get our
Christian,
badges.
sorry what you've walked into. We've completely lost the show.
No,
already.
it was a good couple minutes. It was longer than I expected, but it was a good couple minutes.
With
Good.
me involved, it was longer than you expected.
I still have a monicum of expectation.
Part of his brain
Yes.
just spoke, Bradford. Yes.
So, all right. So, Legrand comes to us from our buddies over at commercialintegrator.com. Legrand acquires solar effective, expands shading portfolio to commercial markets. Going to read from this really quickly. According to the company announcement, the integration of Solar Effective's shading systems with Legrand's active lighting control will enable Legrand to coordinate these various lighting systems, providing architects, designers, specifiers, and facilities managers with a broad strategic range of energy-efficient commercial lighting solutions. Good Lord, that was a press release if I've ever heard one. Mr. Tucker, I'm going to bring you on this one for a couple of reasons. First of all, George helps produce one of our lighting shows. Legrand has been doing a lot of purchasing lately with this one and with a couple others that go down the line of commercial lighting. Who exactly are they going after with these purchases? Like, what company do you think they've gotten their sights?
Well, I think it could be both, but I think it's focused on commercial, right? I mean,
Okay.
energy is where it's at. Everybody wants to be able to tie in that kind of stuff, and I don't want to use the term loosely, but it is a Trojan horse of many ways, because you start to enter control. You start to enter realms in which you can expand a line based on an architecture that says, hey, we've got this thing that does shades, but can it connect to other stuff and do other things? Shades themselves are great, especially in commercial, because you are load shedding, you are trying to manage daylighting, you are trying to manage energy levels in general. So that is a big part of it. I mean, what's the one thing that all those home renovation shows try to tell you is, to save energy in the winter, raise up your shades, and then when it gets dark, bring them down. Same in summer, down and up first, right? So I mean, there's a lot going on there. Look at the New York Times building in New York City. A lot of its energy savings and its LEED standard, or whatever level they reached, was about the daylighting and the shading for energy and for using of natural light. So in that, there's a lot to be gained. Absolutely.
Adrian, from your standpoint, having one company or two that you are used to using, and as an integrator and somebody who designs systems and specifies product, how do you incorporate the old company into the new company if maybe you've never used them before?
Ooh, good question. A lot of times those decisions are made way before an integration firm is involved in a project. So that's done by either the architect or even, an interiors designer, or the client, or even a lighting designer, or just the electrician. So, 9 times out of 10, all we're asking for is I just need a network or 232 interface so I can talk to it if you want to have that functionality on or in the control system. It's interesting to see where Legrand may be trying to merge this company in with their Watt Stopper product, which is a very kind of interesting low voltage, quick termination module based lighting control system that does a lot of really kind of interesting things. And in fact, we're working on a project where we're going to be integrating with it for probably one of the very first times I've ever worked with it. So reading about a lot of these new kind of systems has been very interesting for me. But when we look at a lot of the players like Legrand and others, is they're bringing in a lot of these companies that generally haven't played on a larger stage, and they're bringing them into their portfolios to either shore up things they don't have, or they're seeing something in their forecasting that they said, well, rather than us R&D something, we might as well bring something ahead. And as you mentioned on last week's show, just the amount of mergers and acquisitions happening in the industry within just this last year has been astonishing.
All right, Mr. Bradford, Ben, not for nothing. He works for Harman International when he's not on vacation. You guys have a couple of different control options in the Harman family. What does this do for that area, for control and for the move towards building automation and smart building automation?
I think it's a good thing. I think Legrand having it will start the conversation earlier. Because electrical contractors and architects are used to talking with Legrand about their other products. I'm a little interested in looking at the portfolio they're putting together based on owning Middle Atlantic, Cables to Go, etc. But I also think, to Adrian's point, of this starts coming into the control system, of this for the AV industry can be a great leaping off point of the fact that, okay, you have Legrand and their shade equipment as in the system, so let's actually control it now, and make the entire room work together. So an AMX control system, yes, I work for them. I have to say that, my personal opinion, or it could be Crestron, or it could be Extron, or it could be a PLC, or it could be take your control system of choice. Can now interface into this because the customer's thinking, oh, I can control my lighting and my shading. Wouldn't it be nice when I press the DVD button, all this stuff happens, and it starts the conversation? I think it's a great thing. The fact that it goes in with the lighting system becomes huge because now it starts to actually become a fully integrated system of, let me change the environment in here. So I have one for teleconferencing, one for watching movies in 3D, one for video, one for me sleeping in the afternoon, all those types of things. So I think it's a good thing. I think to Adrian's point of it needs to be controllable via IP. I refuse to do RS-232 because I can't solder those DB9 connectors anymore.
So what happens? What happens
Terminal
when you hit a
strips,
certain age, Bradford? I'm just going to say,
yeah,
I can still solder those. Just
but I have people who will solder them for me.
There you go.
They also make a crimp version.
They do make a crimp version. Yes, you're right. They do make it. See, you could still do 232.
Why would I get me a laptop that's 232? And this isn't the
give me
BGA
5 minutes and I can get you one.
Okay.
All right.
Without a dongle. But I do think overall it's a good thing for us.
Christian, we're going to get your manufacturing standpoint on this side, or the company standpoint on this side. Combining two companies that on paper sort of kind of do the same thing. Legrand has been in the infrastructure business for a long time. They're adding another leg. They're adding another offering to what they have. How do you do that as seamlessly as possible? How do you integrate two different companies like this as seamlessly as possible?
That's quite a good question. From the management standpoint, yeah, you have to get the teams aligned and get the different product ideas aligned, so that there's seamless interaction between the teams. I don't know if how Legrand wants to integrate them. Do they want to fully integrate them into their portfolio, or do they keep them as a separate company that runs independently? So I don't know where the direction goes there, and it's not completely clear from the press release.
That's a good point. Real quickly on that, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they've done both, right? Good friends of ours, actually an underwriter for AVNation, is a company called Middle Atlantic. It's a Legrand company.
Yeah.
So it sits by itself, right? But it's still part of Legrand. And yet they have in the past integrated other products underneath that Legrand brand.
Yeah. So that's a major question. How do they plan to operate it? Definitely, it's a very good to know that they have it in their portfolio. So if you are an integrator, or as Adrian said, the decision is often made before by the architects or by one of the contractors. You know that you have the full portfolio available, and I think that's in general a very good thing, because if I think in our enterprise installations, knowing that you cannot just with large AV installations integrate the lighting situation, but also the shading is a perfect thing, and you get the holistic light environment which you can control.
All right, very good. All right, guys, last story here for today. Most likely, if we blast through this one, we do have one kind of in our back pocket. From Innovate on the Net, glasses-free 3D cinema is one step closer after a team from MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Lab and Israel's Weizmann Institute of Science presented an approach that covered every seat in a theater. The prototype, called Cinema 3D, uses an array of lenses and mirrors to deliver the 3D effect to an audience. Mr. Boyd, I'm going to start with you. I will...
Wait up. I want you to read the next paragraph.
I don't want to read I want to on the MIT website, Wojciech Matusik and MIT...
That's enough.
Oh, shut up. Adrian, why are we still talking about 3D?
I don't know. I think Hollywood is still... You got to separate this in two camps. One is you have Hollywood still trying to sell a product and have people go to and see it in the theaters, right? You had it try to happen in the residential environment, and it fizzled pretty badly for a lot of the reasons that everyone doesn't like 3D. Is the glasses and the cost. You know, everyone has to have glasses, and if you weren't sitting in the sweet spot, it didn't look good. What was interesting about this is this article, when you watch the video, the content that they were showing isn't 3D content. It's 2D content that's being faked with that screen. It's a modified sort of a parallax screen with a whole bunch of mirrors to fake it out. And what's interesting about that is with a screen, now you can make 2D content almost 3D. Now when you look at a cinema projector, do you actually have to have the 3D lens, which is a pain in the butt to set up and get focused correctly? Because as soon as it's not focused right, it looks terrible and things look soft. But you also, there was another article that was released that MIT came out. It's a parallel group to this that is doing 3D holograms off an inkjet printer using the similar type of technology in terms of the parallax and the mirroring applications. But now basically what they're doing is they're layering multiple elements together. So when you look at these two together, you're almost seeing that that's kind of how they're kind of getting this technology to work. But I would rather see holograms in the holodeck than 3D. You know, we want to look at, say, a big blockbuster. We look at Star Trek, or actually say Star Wars, because I saw all the new Star Wars in IMAX 3D, regular real 3D, and in 2D. 2D looked far better as a presented medium than both of those two 3D mediums. Because if you take your glasses off watching a 3D movie in the cinema, not all the entire film's in 3D. It's only specific elements at specific times.
Let's bring Bradford on that too, because he did the exact same thing as you did for the last Star Wars movie, which was to see it, and I believe in 3 different formats.
Yes.
Bradford, why are we talking still about 3D? And I say we. MIT is not exactly some backwoods community college. You know, it's a significant school.
Yeah, well, so I'll give you my opinion. First of all, to Adrian's point, it depends on the movie as to whether or not they do the entire thing in 3D. Star Wars decided to only poke your eyes out in 3D in certain places. Other movies like Gravity decided to poke your eyes out all the time. But then you look at something like Toy Story or a Pixar movie where they actually render the entire movie in 3D by putting the cameras in the virtual world 1.5 inches apart. It does a pretty dang good 3D effect. Now, having said that, I think it's a great move to get people out of the home into the cinema, which is good for all of us, especially us as manufacturers who make cinema products, to be fair. But I also think that this technology is used to give the oh wow factor. The I don't want to watch this at home. I want to see a big impact. I want to be enveloped. I want to have Dolby Atmos or Harman's QLI cinema processor so that I have 64 channels of audio fully enveloping me. But I couple that with the fact that I'm not sure this is going to be able to be deployed full scale after reading it with the 50 moving mirrors and all that stuff of the how well is it going to scale to a large screen? What about the people who have poor vision, as Adrian, myself, and George adjust our glasses? Those of you who follow my rants on Twitter know I always watch the 2D version of the movie whenever possible. Because when a company like Disney makes 3D and spends millions of dollars on it, and I sit in the sweet spot and it still doesn't work for me, I don't think anything's going to work for me just based on my eyesight. So I think it's a big deal because it helps get people out. I also think there are other applications that we're missing, which is probably why MIT was looking at it. Let's use the Mars rover as an example. It sends down 2D stereoscopic images. Wouldn't it be great to bring those down into a 3D look at it, or at a command and control center to be able to see a network pipeline get thicker, for lack of a phrase, as it gets fuller of bandwidth? And I think those applications are bigger for data visualization than for entertainment of this technology.
So basically a way to feel, as long as you can see the 3D, a way to feel like you're on the surface of Mars.
Yes.
Or the probe that just went into Jupiter, a way to see the great storm on Jupiter in 3D.
I think it's a great data visualization tool, and I wonder if that's what I didn't read all the article. I'm on vacation. But being that it was presented at the SIGGRAPH Computer Graphics Conference in Anaheim, which was when I was actually there, because I was there for other stuff, the fact that it was at that conference and not at Cinema West or other cinema shows.
Or CES.
That makes me lean it towards data visualization and command and control and large data sets. Like for those of us who work with stuff like, keeping a website up in the tag cloud, can you imagine how great it would be to have a 3D tag cloud without having to put on glasses?
I don't know if a 3D tag cloud would be cool. So.
I love that idea, and I hate 3D.
Christian, from your standpoint, why do you think we're still talking about 3D?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you look on this funny conference image, I think it was in Barcelona, the last mobile phone conference, where this great image was, where Mark Zuckerberg runs through a hall with thousands of attendees who all have glasses on. It would be a much nicer picture if nobody has glasses on and sees a full immersed 3D experience. So it's quite clear what the use of it would be. Of course, the technology that is presented here by MIT is quite advanced, and the question is, do you get it to such large audiences in a working environment? That's definitely the question.
All right, Mr. Tucker, last word on this before we hit the weekend. Is it a good thing, I guess, or why are we still talking about this?
Muybridge would be proud, wouldn't he? He would really be proud.
Yes.
And I say that because we've been through this. I think we've been through this in the sense that for certain applications this works, but that whole parallax image thing, even with the multiple parallaxes in retrograding, whatever, I've seen some of this stuff that was done at a bunch of government shows. I saw some of it at Infocom when we were in the height of 3D is the salvation. It still looks like your 50s card. It still looks like that 3D printing that Adrian mentioned. I don't know, as Bradford said, whether they can scale it up or not. I'm not impressed, and I don't think it really is the future for at least large-scale commercial or residential implementations. I could be wrong. I was wrong about the gestures, maybe, but it really does strike to me as it's stereoscopic. It can be done. Why are we going through all this? No one's really going to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was a part of those as well. Good friend of the shows. Michael Drainer and I were running around the show. Good Lord, 07, 08, maybe even 09, and it was the first iteration of glasses free 3D. Michael has an astigmatism. Still wears glasses. He and I are standing right next to each other in the sweet spot. He can't see anything. Well, he can. It's 2D to him, and I can see it. So yeah, until they figure out a way to overcome some of the medical issues people have, I just still don't see it. So
I still think it's just copy protection for the home.
No, it's not. All right.
Well, and you also have to remember how your brain and your eyes process 2D, 3D images. And one of the big things is your eyes see 2D, your brain makes it 3D. So when you watch a 3D movie, your brain is going, it freaks out. People get headaches, and
so you're saying that the people who can't see 3D, there's something wrong with them mentally. Is that what you're saying, Adrian?
No, they're just smarter than us.
Oh,
I'll go with that. Yes, that's true. True statement.
All right, Mr. Boyd, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How do people get a hold of you and or AVI Systems?
Well, they can certainly look AVI up on the web, it's an easy search. Don't confuse us with AVI SPL. We're different companies, same first three letters, but we're AVI Systems, and we have about 16, 17 offices all over the country. You can find me on Twitter. I'm the AV CAD guy. That's AV_CAD guy. There's lots of underscores. It's a long Twitter handle.
It's a long Twitter
find me there.
We'll put it on the website so that way people can click on the link. I know how to do that.
No, perfect.
Go ahead. Mr. Ben, thank you, sir.
My pleasure. I enjoyed ruining my coming out of vacation for this. So my weekend's continuing. You're going to ask how can people find me?
Yes.
I am currently ankle deep updating and fixing the AVNation website, so you can go there and find me. You can not bother following me and follow TD Albright on Twitter, or you can follow me at Bradford Ben on Twitter or bradfordben.com, or just search Bradford Ben. And if you really want to have fun, go to the Infocom site and search for Bradford Ben on the CTS certification, because I got one, and Chuck, you owe me a barbecue. And Christian, we apologize for subjecting you to me on your first AVNation.
Oh, no.
You had no idea what you were getting into.
Here's the thing. Christian's a manufacturer. You're a manufacturer, so it was all groovy. Christian, thank you, sir. Christian Dougal from UMasskin. How do people find you?
Best is go to www.umaskin.com, and there you find our solutions. As I said before, we build large semantic walls which bring up content from the web or internal databases and present it to you in a very interactive and nicely way in digital signage systems. So umaskin.com is the way to find me.
All right,
Thank you very much for being part of this.
Absolutely. Last but not least, Mr. Tucker, sir, how do people get a hold of you?
And of course, anywhere on social media at Tucker2s. I write for Commercial Integrator, Higher Ed Tech, and various other trade journals of note.
Very good.
And he's a member of the KISS Army.
And he's a member of the KISS Army. If you're watching the video,
I actually have the patch.
He has the patch, and he has the dolls, the Barbie dolls.
I don't have the dolls. No.
They were Migos.
He lost them. He lost them in the fourth divorce. My name is Tim Albright. Don't follow me, but go by the website avnation.tv. Avnation.tv. You will find this program and a host of others. I have a brand new weekly residential show where we take this format and talk about everything residential. Bradford mentioned our new MH show, My Humble Opinion. We have three AV professionals talking for about 10-15 minutes about what their thoughts are on everything from augmented reality to Infocom to social media and everything in between. New social, our AV social show, a new ed tech coming down the pipe, and a new state of control coming down. So avnation.tv, avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. This has been AV Week.